Hello everyone. Welcome to Slow English Zone. I'm happy to practice English with you today. In this lesson, we are going to speak slowly and use very simple English. Our topic today is everyday life. I want to show you how to talk about the things you do regularly. You can use these sentences when you talk about your morning, your work, your free time, and your evening. This is also a good way to use the simple present tense. We use the simple present for routines, habits, and things that are usually true. For example, I drink tea in the morning. I work during the day. I read before I go to bed. Let's start with the basic shape of a sentence. First, we need a subject. A subject can be I, you, we, they, he, she, or it. After the subject, we need a verb. For example, I work. You study. We cook. They walk. Then we can add more information. We can add a place. We can also add a time. For example, I work at home. I study English in the evening. We walk in the park on Sundays. These sentences are simple, but they're very useful. Now, let's build a short routine together. I usually wake up at 7 o'clock. I open the window and get some fresh air. Then I wash my face. After that, I make a simple breakfast. I usually eat bread, cheese, and fruit. I often drink tea with my breakfast. Then I get dressed and get ready for the day. Sometimes I work at home. On other days, I go out. When I work at home, I sit at my desk and turn on my computer. I usually check my messages first. Then I start my main work. At around 11 o'clock, I usually take a short break. I drink some water and walk around the room. At lunchtime, I eat something simple. Sometimes I make lunch at home. Sometimes I buy lunch from a small restaurant. After lunch, I rest for a few minutes. Then I go back to work. In the afternoon, I often feel a bit tired. So I usually make a cup of coffee or tea. That small break helps me feel better. Then I usually finish my work and put my things away. In the evening, I like to slow down. I may talk with my family. I may listen to music. Sometimes I go for a short walk. I don't do the same thing in the evening. This is why we use words like always, usually, often, sometimes, and never. I always brush my teeth in the evening. I usually drink tea in the morning. I often listen to music in the evening. I sometimes watch a movie at night. I never drink coffee very late. Notice where these words usually go. They often come before the main verb. I say, I usually walk to work. But with the verb be, the position is different. We say, I'm usually tired after a busy day. Now let's practice some useful questions. Questions help us continue a conversation. You can ask someone about their routines. For example, what time do you get up? You can answer, I wake up at 7 o'clock. Another useful question. What do you do in the morning? A good answer is, I have breakfast and get ready for work. You can also ask, what do you do after work? Another useful question is, where do you work? You can answer, I work at home. Or you can say, I work in an office. You can also ask, how do you go to work? Someone may answer, I go by bus. Someone else may say, I walk to work. Another useful question is, what do you do after work? This question is great for talking about free time. Maybe you exercise. Maybe you cook dinner. Maybe you watch a show or call a friend. These are all good beginner sentences. Now, I want you to practice with me. Think about your own day. Start with the morning. Say 3 things you usually do before noon. Then think about your afternoon. Say 2 things you often do after lunch. Then think about your evening. Try to say one word like always, usually, often, sometimes, or never. Keep your sentences short and clear. You do not need difficult words. You do not need long grammatical explanations when you speak. The important thing is to make simple sentences and use them often. You can pause this video and say your answers out loud. You can also write your answers and routine in the comments. Practice a little every day, and speaking will slowly become easier. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this slow lesson helped you, please support Slow English Zone by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I'll see you in the next lesson.